MacGybo.
And I'm back. This is my first video of 2023, and it's nice to see you. I've had a little break from Eve, a little break from making videos as well. But I'm back just now on the perimeter gate in Jita, not so much for the ganking, but just a familiar place to have a little chat and bring you up to date with what's been happening, tell you about what's going to be happening, and maybe get a little kill as well. So I'm out with a couple of thrashers, a looter and a booster. Should know by now what my setup is. I'm sitting in the dark a bit here. There we go, a little bit more light, that's better. So I mentioned before Christmas that I was going to uninstall Eve and have a bit of a break. And I did do that. I did uninstall my Eve client and everything from my laptop. But I had to scratch that itch, and the way that I did that was by using Eve Anywhere and also using some remote desktop servers as well. And the aim of all of this was to see if it was possible to loot as fast as I could on the Jita station. And the Jita station isn't something that I'm going to be making any more videos about. And the people that I suspect of doing various things on the Jita station, that's done and dusted. That's all there. All of my opinions have been documented and what have you. But so that's that. That chapter's closed. But what I did do was find some quite interesting information which I thought I'd pass on to you. The two ways that I found of getting a quick ping as possible, as low a ping as possible, a faster connection. One was to use cloud devices, cloud desktops, which are specifically based in London. And I managed to do all of this for free. And the results were pretty astounding. The different providers that I tried was AWS, which is Amazon, Microsoft, I think it's called Azure, Kamatera, and the final one was Google. And the Google one I did last because it seemed to be a bit more complex to set up. So they were all pretty much the same in that you set up an account, you were given a certain amount of credit or access to free machines, and you could set up the machine, set up the processes that you wanted and the memory, the RAM that you wanted in these remote desktops. And once it was installed, you could install an Eve client there. And these are all based in London, so the ping to the server that I was getting was like 1 or 2 milliseconds. So if you are trying to loot ahead of somebody who is manually trying to loot something, but they're not in London, they're in another part of the world, you should be able to get there pretty quick. And that's what I found for the most part. There was a couple of people that I still couldn't loot ahead of, but the amount of success that I was having did increase. So from the different providers, Kamatera and Amazon Web Services didn't really impress me that much with the specs that they gave you. It was pretty slow, pretty low spec computers, so much so that it couldn't really run the client at all. Microsoft was a lot better, but their pricing plan was really not clear at all. So you're setting up this machine and you believe that you're using the credit that they give you and your free trial. Well, they tend to price it per hour of use, and it might just be like $1 an hour. So you've got to remember to switch it off once you finish use it, power it down, otherwise they'll continue to charge you or take your credit. But the thing about the Microsoft package that I used was it gave you the credit and it gave you an option for a budget limit, but it also seemed to quite easily run over the top of that limit. So much so that the trial that I was given with the free credit all of a sudden came up with, oh, you owe us $50 or $51. It was all priced in dollars. That's obviously a bit of a fright when you think that you're getting a free trial. So I had to chased that up, and it took about 2 or 3 weeks for them to confirm that that was actually incorrect and I didn't know anything, and that kind of put me off using them and recommending them. So just be aware that Azure Microsoft is a service that will do this, but I would say go in with a bit of caution and be aware that it seems to let you run over the limit. Which leaves us with Google. Cloud Google and the instances, as they call them. Now the downside of Google is, if you're using the free package, I mean, it's great. It's like 90 days, you get $300 worth of credit. So it's an awful lot to play with and mess around with. There are no Windows images available, no Windows servers images available for you to potter around with. It's purely Linux images. So your virtual machine that you're setting up to play EVE Online is Linux. And it's a Linux server as well. So before you can even use it, you've got to install a desktop and a remote desktop server as well, software as well. I mean, I can do it in about 10 minutes now because I've set up that many machines, but it's a bit of a pain in the bum. And also the downside of that is running EVE Online on Linux is no fun at all. Now, before I go into the next thing that I did, so one of them's the remote desktop. Just want to mention a problem with these cloud desktops is it seems that after a while, the IP addresses, maybe they're blocked by CCP, but you can't connect, so you have to keep disconnecting the remote desktop, powering it down, and then leaving it a while and powering it back up. It gets a new IP address, and then you'll have better luck connecting to EVE Online. But it's a very, very fast connection. It's super fast. The second thing that I found, and this surprised me, but it's working an absolute treat, is EVE Anywhere. I'll tell you what EVE Anywhere is. It's a version of EVE only available in some parts of the world at the moment that can be run inside the browser. So you go to eveonline.com, log in, and then go to /anywhere, and then you just see it power up. Now, I do not have a great laptop. When you go into EVE Anywhere, it's like you're using a remote laptop or remote desktop with a fantastic graphics card, which means that from your browser, you're getting really good graphics, certainly far better than my laptop's capable of producing. And all of the processing is being done somewhere else. Now, you do need to be an Omega account to use it, or it's going to cost you 30 plex a day. But I found that being in the UK, going on EVE Anywhere, and then switching it basically to the potato graphics and turning off the 3D even, it makes it lightning fast. And that meant that when I was trying to do the loot thieving, I was having tremendous success. It made the world a difference. And when I used EVE Anywhere on the remote desktops in London, super fast, amazing stuff. I have mentioned this to a few people and they asked me about the lag. Is that not just going to slow everything down because rather than connecting direct to the server, you're connecting to a remote desktop that's going to the server? But you have to think about where the lag is taking place. The important piece of the puzzle, the piece of the connection, is between the client and the server, the EVE client and the EVE server. Now, if I'm doing my server here and it's going all the way down to London, that could be like 19, 20 milliseconds. You're in other parts of the world, it's completely different. So when I issue a command, it's from this laptop here. So that's got to travel all the way to London and then come all the way back. But if you're doing a remote desktop, when you issue a command, yep, there's a delay in you issuing the command, but the delay between the client and the server is minimal. So the thing that I was doing was pre-clicking. So I would show you what I would do. Let's say I want to, let me just scan this guy. Okay, so let's say that I want to loot a wreck. And this is covered in my loot thief video. You want it so this window here is right underneath the top line of text. Okay. Then as soon as the rec turns up, you click here. And what that'll do is as soon as the rec turns up, you'll be clicking there, and when you double click on the rec, this window will pop forward and you're already hanging over the loot all button. So how does this help you? Well, you never wait until you actually see the rec, because by that point it's probably already looted. But there are some of the gankers on Jita 4.4 are very, very predictable as to what they shoot. So for example, there's some gankers that will shoot every single blockade runner that they see. If you're connected to London, it's got 1 or 2 millisecond ping, and you see a blockade runner uncloaking, you start clicking then. It may be another second or two before that rec appears, but you've already sent those clicks. So you've already sent all of those clicks like that to the server in London. So as soon as that rec appears, there's a long string of clicks. It doesn't care whether or not you've seen it wherever you are. It's taken that click and then it's doing it in London. And then the next thing you know, you'll be looking at it and you'll have the cargo in your cargo and you'll be suspect and you have to dock up. And doing it that way, I found I was able to loot from quite a lot of people. Now, I am a ganker. There is a code amongst most of the gankers. So I was returning the loot to the gankers that I took it from. And I think it was appreciated because there were other loot thieves out there who wouldn't have dreamt of returning the loot. They were just happy to take it, and that's that. So I was returning it to the gankers I took it from. There was one pilot that I was returning it to who was quite rude. So I started to keep his loot. Manners cost nothing. And you know, there's nothing wrong with saying thank you even to the boy with his pants on his face. So Eve Anywhere it's a bit of a hidden gem. I mean, people know it exists, but I don't know how many people have actually tried it. There are certain things that it's great for, and there's certain things that you just couldn't use it for. I wouldn't dream of using Eve Anywhere for PvP, anything where it absolutely matters for you to react to what's going on the screen. But if you want to use it for things like trading, hauling, things like that, I wouldn't use it for missions, but anything else like that, fire it up. I mean, you're getting all the processing power paid for supplied by somebody else. Well, CCP. And if you've got a low-end laptop, you'll find that your graphics, the Eve experience is definitely improved. Now, as you may know, I'm what's known as an Eve partner, which means that every month I get given a bunch of skins to give away. I've got quite a few now. I priced them there, and I believe it's up at around 60 billion. So my next video that I do, I'm going to be giving away all of them, 60 billion worth of skins. So I took a screenshot there. That's where I get 60 billion from. 61.569 billion worth of skins. That's what I'm giving away there. I've given away one already for services to ganking. Gankers need rewards too. Affirmation, cuddles. So keep an eye out in the next couple of days. There'll be a video, very, very easy competition. So we'll give away batches of these skins. The Astera at the moment is about 1.5 billion, so we've got 19 of them to give away. So we'll make it about 20 prizes of mixed batches of those skins within the next week. So it was probably a couple of weeks back there that I reinstalled the Eve client, put all my accounts back in. It actually remembered all of my account details. It's as if it was mocking me, going, "We knew you'd be back. We didn't delete anything." And in that last couple of weeks, I've been setting things up for a couple of new corps, 3 new corps actually, that I've been setting up. And I kind of mentioned these before, and I'll go into more detail in the next week or two about them, and they'll be open for applications. So the first corp has now got a name. It's called the Slow Zone. And that will be for people who have maybe just been playing Eve as like almost like a one-player game. Maybe haven't discovered other people's corps or having interactions with other pilots. Or maybe people who've been playing for a long time or have just come back and aren't part of a corp and maybe just want to engage with the social aspect of EVE Online without feeling like they're obliged to turn up for missions or carry out certain duties for an alliance and be on call, or even play the game under someone else's command. Or maybe you're in a corp like this and you've got an alt and you just feel like doing something different. So it'll be a very relaxed corp. There will be planned events, so there will be an option to do missions with other people, to have fleets, to have somewhere just to hang out. There's a Discord all set up, ready to go. There'll be no need to access API or corp history or anything like that. It will just be, if you want in, you're in. It's just going to be like a pub, somewhere you can just come and hang out. And I think the only rule really will be, don't be a jerk. There will be zero drama, at least that's the intention. And I've got a good spot for it as well. I found the perfect system, which is just 1 jump from high sec, 4 jumps from null. It is a low sec system. And the station I want to run out of has got repairs, cloning, mission agents, stuff like that. And it's pretty low traffic. So I'll give the full details in the first video about the new corps. The next corp I'm setting up is a PvP corp. And it'll be for small ship, low sec and null roams. Beginners mostly. We'll have a lot of fun trying out fits. Maybe having like a fit of the week where people get given a frigate. We try it out, get feedback, see how it works, see what you like about it. You can get experience in different kinds of ships, different kinds of tactics and fighting and roams and what have you. There will be no systems to hold down or sovereignty to worry about. It'll just be about undocking and having fun. With again just the general rule of be a pleasant person. And the name of that corp is the Scorpios. Please don't apply for it just now. I'll let you know when we're open for applications. I'll have an advert in game to let you know about it. The third corp in this alliance, and the alliance is called the Flotilla. The Flotilla being a collection of small ships. The third corp in the alliance is the high sec ganking, which is the nonsense I get up to here. And that will be called Ridicule is Nothing to Be Scared of. And there will be some people of a certain age that will know exactly where that line comes from. In fact, if you comment in the video below where Ridicule is Nothing to Be Scared of comes from, I'll pick one person at random to win one of the Astero skins. And what the link is as well between that and the Scorpios, which is the name of the PvP corp. And one of the things about being an EVE partner is you get given these skins, but you are absolutely forbidden from selling these skins yourself. I mean, they're worth an awful lot. And we get given a lot of them as well. And there have been some people apparently in the past who have sold the skins, and that's the quickest way to get invited to leave the CCP EVE partner program. So I'm given a whole bunch of skins, and I'm told you don't sell them. The latest being the Astero skin. And I'm actually setting up here for this video earlier this evening. And this chap comes towards me, autopiloting in a shuttle. And what does he have but one of these Astero skins? I mean, I couldn't let it by. So I shot it, and it dropped. And it says there, I mean the in-game value here, it says it's worth 20,000 ISK. But it isn't. It's worth, like I say, they're up for sale between about 1.5, 2 billion and 4 billion. So I had to let the Eve partner Discord know, I've got this, it's not one of mine, and I want to be able to sell it, but I don't want to get in trouble. So out of everything that could have dropped, it was exactly the one thing that I had to I had to double check I was alright to sell. I did get in touch with the guy and ask him where he got the skin from, but for some reason he didn't want to chat. 63 mil. This is something I've mentioned time and time and time again. When the scan comes up, this is the important bit. This is where I've got to be looking at. And I never ever do. I'm just up here looking for the sexy pictures of large skill injectors or plex or extractors or anything like that. And my eyes move so fast from here to here that I actually feel a bit dizzy. I feel like I've left the top of it behind when I'm going from here to here. Let me ask you something, right? This is something that happened to me, right? And you leave a comment and let me know if this has ever happened to you. So I started playing Eve in March 2007. And I got pretty hooked pretty quickly. Not long after I started playing, I bought a flat and I moved into the flat. And I took a week off work to decorate the flat. And I must have spent about 5 of those 7 days playing Eve. I just got hooked. And it coincided with the time when the corp that I was in, the alliance that I was in, was moving from Syndicate to Fountain. So there was a lot of stuff to do. And I was playing it far too much. I really went in at the deep end and got stuck into it. And this is where my question comes in. So I would play the game, I would log off, I would go to bed, and then I would wake up with a start and be like, I've not docked. And think, oh, I was still floating in space. And I would have this moment of panic of being half awake, half asleep, and thinking that I was about to get blown up. These Eve panic dreams. Don't get them anymore, fortunately. But I do remember when I first started, when I still had that panickiness about me, that wasn't unusual at all. So tell me, has that ever happened to you? Have you ever had the Eve sweats when you're not even playing the game? You know, for all the nerfs that CCP have given to gankers with the recent changes to security status and not being able to dock in high security space, and also alphas not being able to go criminal in high security space, there's one change that they made. It's a good few years back now, but to me was purely to help gankers. And you can see it in this window here. So let me just bring that back up. And it's this number at the bottom. So this number, when you scan, tells you the value of the cargo. That never used to exist. So you would just be looking at the items. This is scrollable. So you would look at that and you would be like, all right, skins, yeah, that could be worth something, and you might take a shot at that. But it's only 27 million. Now, while the valuation system on lost mails is pretty poor, the scans is pretty accurate. So adding this in, whether it be intentional or not, has been an absolute boon for gankers, because I can immediately look at something and know whether or not it's worth pulling the trigger, provided I can focus on the number at the bottom and not the icons up above. So it could just be that I've used up all my ganking luck this evening while I was setting up with that Astero skin. And maybe I'm imagining it, but it does seem like there are far fewer ganking targets now than there used to be. It's exactly 6 years since I started ganking. Like, to the month. So here's 2017, the 29th of January, so 6 years ago this month. And that's one of the first large kills that I got. 21 large skill injectors and a skill extractor. Back then, Plex was still a 30-day thing, so you didn't have 500 Plex for a month, you just had the one. And I got this kill the following month with 28 30-day Plexes, which is crackers. That's hundreds and hundreds of dollars or pounds worth. And they dropped as well. And it used to be the case, this is before the Plex vault, that the 30-day Plexes, I would get one of those maybe every couple of days. So I'll be out ganking and they would drop all the time. Now drops that size are just so rare. I maybe get one like that every, I don't even know, about every 6 months or so. Maybe not even that much. I don't know if it's the videos are making people more aware, or if there's less of them flying around, but it seems like the message is hitting home about not flying around with high value items on small ships. Maybe it's just the reality of the cost of living costs at the moment, but the times have changed a great deal in those 6 years for gankers. And I just say that the happiest gankers that I know are the ones who don't just do ganking and nothing else. You do get some people that are just, all they do in the game is ganking. That doesn't make any sense to me. What's the point of accruing all of this wealth? What are you doing with it all? I have heard some suggestion, even just in the last week on Twitter, that some people gather fortunes in EVE just to sell it for real money. People who are happiest, the gankers who are happiest in EVE, are definitely the ones who don't spend all their time ganking. It's the ones who go out and maybe they use this to fund an alt, or they go out and do stuff in low security space or nullsec, or even run missions or what have you, but just don't just do this all the time. It's certainly not what I do all the time. I do a lot of videos about it. I get comments as well when I'm in low sec of like, oh, what are you doing here? We thought you'd be in Jita. I mean, fair enough, okay, the videos are mostly in Jita, but there's so much more to EVE. This is a great way to make ISK, but there's other ways to make ISK that are probably more profitable and more fun and more interesting. I mean, this is not the most beautiful way to play EVE, is it? It looks like some 80s video game. I mean, you go like that and you can see the Stargate and what have you, but the way I play it out here, this is a game of triangles, the way I play it. So by all means, come and give this a shot, but don't let this dominate your game. There's so much more stuff out there to do that's more beautiful and more interesting and more rewarding than this. Particularly when I'm not having very much luck. We'll make this the last ship scan. Oh, it's a Damovic. I don't even know if I could kill a Damovic with 2 thrashes. So thanks very much for watching. Keep an eye out for the videos that I've mentioned that will be coming out in the next few days. I'm MacGybo, and I'll see you again next time. Bye now.